Sir, shall we start, sir? Bijapur, sir? Hello? Shall we start, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we start, sir? Hello? Bijapur, sir?
Start.
Okay, sir. Okay. Okay. Hello, madam. Can you hear me, madam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello. Is it okay? Very good afternoon to you, madam, and very good afternoon to one and all who all are participating in the national webinar series conducting by Department of Kriya Sharira, SVM Ayurvedic Medical College, Ilkal. We have a eminent teaching faculty of Kriya Sharira, that is Dr. Babita Sharma, madam, with us.
Thank you.
Dr. Babita Sharma, madam, Associate Professor, Department of Kriya Sharira, Government Ayurvedic Medical College, Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. Madam has presented many research articles in national and international journals, and as well as presented many papers in national and international conferences also. Today, Madam is going to present her views on the topic, that is gut microbiome, key to good health and Ayurvedic perspective. I request Madam to continue the session. A warm welcome to Kriya Mantana 2020, a national webinar series of Kriya Sharira conducting by SVM Ayurvedic Medical College, Ilkal, madam. Once again, welcome to the Kriya Mantana 2020. Continue the session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Welcome all attendees of this session of webinar series of Kriya Manthan. My topic for presentation is about microbiota. Dear students, I have selected this topic because I strongly believe that as the beginners, you all should know the science behind Ayurveda fundamentals. Recent researches in medical sciences associated with body, mind, soul, wellness make us to believe on an even greater understanding of what Ayurveda has taught for thousands of years. Microbiota is one of them. Information about the gut microbiome has explored recently, showing importance of gut bacteria in both health and disease. But I feel proud to share with you that Ayurveda has already offered guidelines to improve gut health with the use of Ayurvedic diet, Ayurvedic lifestyle, and Ayurvedic regimen. So with saying Jayatu Ayurveda, coming to my presentation. So I will going to share my presentation. So the topic of today's presentation is a gut microbiome, key to health and Ayurveda perspective. Am I audible, sir? Hello.
Madam,
Okay,
audible,
thank you. Thank you, sir. And my screen is visible?
It's visible,
okay.
madam. Clearly,
Thank
it's
you.
visible.
Good. Thank you. So shall I start?
Yeah, madam, you can.
So gut microbiome, the key to health and Ayurveda perspective. This is my topic of today's presentation, right? So it is a trending topic of today's medical science, the human microbiome, the undiscovered country. So what is this? As you all know that humans are host to an enormous invisible ecosystem of microbes that influence almost every system of our body. The most common microbes that live in or on our bodies are bacteria, viruses, protozoa, and fungi. For a long time, we thought that most bacteria were harmful. But in the last few years, scientists have discovered their beneficial effects. So human microbiome is considered the latest discovered human organ. And it is interesting to know that the lower gut contains 99% of all the microorganisms in the body, right? So these are some trending topics and articles related to microbiota, right? Some operational terms begin with these terms. Microbiota, that is collective microorganism living within us or on us. A similar term is microbiome. The collective gene content of those microorganisms living within or on us is called microbiome. Symbiosis. Symbiosis matlab, that means interaction between two different organisms living in close physical association. And typically to the advantage of both, that they are beneficial for each other. And dysbiosis means dysregulated microbiota. So these are some operational terms related to my topic. As you all know that symbiosis is a mutual relationship between the organisms, right? It may be of three types: mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism. In mutualism, both the organisms are benefited, right? In commensalism, one is benefited and one is neutral, no harm, no benefit. Okay. And the last one is parasitism. When one organism get benefited from other, but other one get harm from the former one. So microbiota shows mutualism, where host as well as that microbiome both are benefited from each other, right? So gut microbiota in health, that is in symbiosis, human provides nutrients and shelter to microbiome, and on the other hand, microbiome gives so much benefits to the human beings, increase our metabolic capacity to digest, provide vitamins, synthesis of vitamin, protect from other pathogenic bacteria. So these are some, or we can say these are few benefits which microbiome provides us. Learning object of today's presentation is just an overview of microbiota, then overview of gut microbiota, and the last section is Ayurveda and microbiota. The Human Microbiome Project says the human body has 100 trillion microscopic life forms living in it. Now the question is, where on a healthy human is the microbiome located? Every human body surface which is exposed to the environment, and every body part with an opening to the environment has a microbiome, right? For example, skin and mucous membrane, external ear canal, upper respiratory tract, gastrointestinal tract, and openings of urethra, external urethral openings. These are the sites that harbor a normal microbiota, right? Now, how many different organisms are normally in our body? So mouth has more than 600 species, skin also. Intestine has more than 8,000 genera. That is, it is the biggest site of microbiota to live. Vagina also has, female vagina also has more than 200 species of microbiome reside there. So, role of microbiota in health. It is the microbiota involved in many of the functions which are beneficial for us. And the most important function is digestion. Then comes vitamin production, protection from parasites and pathogens, metabolic rate
आज मैं
improved.
क्या होगा नहीं तो मैं एक क्लास और ले लूंगा मैं।
Please.
अब बताओ क्या करूं? और
ले लो अभी
Dr. Dinesh, please mute yourself, please. It also helps in immune improvement, immune system, and odor, particular odor. It gives odor to the human being where they live, and they also modulate or they also influence the behavior of human being. So these are some important functions of microbiota living in us or on us. An interesting thing that microbiota show a huge diversity, a huge variation within the people and between the people. In this diagram, there is intestine and stomach, and we are seeing that in different parts of the intestine, different species of microbiota reside, right? That is, it shows a huge variation in an organism and in different parts of that human being. So in stomach, we are seeing that Lactobacillus, Candida, Streptococcus are more. In colon, Clostridium groups are more. In jejunum, Streptococcus and Lactobacillus. So it is, they show huge diversity, right? What affects microbiota? There are a lot of factors which affect the concentration, the species, and the diversity of microbiota. The first one is age. Then with puberty or during pregnancy, the species and the diversity of microbiota changes. As our diet changes, medical conditions, treatments, or the use of antibiotic itself, pets in the home, whatever we were born naturally or by C-section, how we nourish ourselves, whether we get regular exercise or not, what we eat, the poor nutritional habits, unhealthy foods, and also very interestingly, habits of cleanliness, which is very important in the present scenario of COVID-19, smoking, and stress, chronic stress. These are the factors which affect the microbiota population, right? In nutshell, we can say that how are you born, where you live, what you eat, when you eat, these all influence the composition of the gut microbiome. Now, how to alter or reset microbiota? So it is very simple. Just by changing your bad habits into good habits about your lifestyle, about your diet plan, you can alter or you can reset microbiota. It is very simple, right? Microbes can talk. Yes, microbes can talk with each other, can communicate with each other. They communicate each other by chemical languages. They interact each other by signals and respond to the signals by using chemical languages. This phenomena is called quorum sensing. So all microbes can communicate with each other and can also communicate with our organs of the body like brain, liver, and other organs. And they communicate with each other as well as with the brain and other organs of the body. This term is very much important when we study, when we think about microbiota. This is gut brain axis. In short, we can say GBA. That means the microbiota of gut are associated with the brain and alters the brain activity, right? So it consists of bidirectional communication between the central and the enteric nervous system. The nervous system of intestine, right, is called enteric nervous system. Linking emotional and cognitive centers of the brain. That means gut microbiota can alter the emotional status as well as our brain functions, our cognitive function, our memory, our intelligence, and our concentration as well. Recent advances in research have described the importance of gut microbiota in influencing these interactions, right? So this diagram shows that gut microbiota influence the brain activity and brain regulate gut microbiota activity by secreting neurotransmitters, by secreting hormones. And here we can say, we see that the barrier integrity signaling, immune signaling, or vagus nerve activation, gut microbiota can affect brain activity, right? Genetical basis. It is very interesting to know that there are 100 times more microbial genes present in our microbiome than our own human genes. As you all know that when we count the cells, the microbial cells are much more than human cells in our body, right? So the genes, the microbial genes also more than our own human genes. Microbial genes turn on and off in response to what we do, right? You have studied Lake Operon model in your lower classes in 12th or 11th. That is concerned with the gene regulation. And it says that all the genes are not active throughout the life. They remain active and then get inactive. So according to their need, they get activate. Microbial genes also turn on and turn off in response to what we do, right? Our genes turn on and turn off in response to what our microbes do. So this is mutual genetical basis, right? Microbial genes can turn on, turn off our genes, and our gene can regulate the activity of microbiota or microbiome, right? So Human Microbiome Project. It was a United States National Institute of Health, that is NIH, research initiative to improve understanding of the microbial flora involved in human health and disease, and is launched in 2007. Now come to the gut microbiota, right? Before we start, just have a short story, right? One day the body parts were fighting with each other. as to who is the most important, right? So brain, heart, liver, gut, all are there. The brain said, I am the most important among all organs because I control everything. So I am the most important one in the body. The heart said, I am the most important as my beating keeps the body going. The liver said, I am the most important as help in metabolism, excretion, detoxification, and many more other functions. Finally, the gut said, I am the most important. Why? Because I digest, absorb, protect, excrete, produce hormones, and reabsorb. Everyone laughed. The gut got angry and shut down. Within a few days, all the other body systems agreed that it was the most important. So the story tells us that gut is the most important organ of the body, right? So when microbes entered in the human body or in the gut, coming to this topic, is it starts in the mother's womb or after the birth? When microbes enters in the human body. When we think about infant gut microflora, the intestine of the fetus in the uterus, when it is in the womb of mother's womb, it is sterile. The intestine of the fetus is sterile when, or we can say before the birth. At birth, it is inoculated with flora from the mother and from the environment, right? As it passes through vaginal canal or in cervical canal, the microflora get entered in the body of fetus. From these, the normal flora of the GI tract are established. By the second year of life, the population resembles that of adult GI tract. Now come to the benefits of gut microbiota. It helps in digestion, protect against pathogen, help the body to absorb nutrients such as calcium and iron, produce vitamins, especially vitamin B, vitamin K, B12, especially. It trains the immune system to fight against the other pathogens. It produces neurotransmitters for our nervous system to communicate with our nervous system. It helps the gut wall develop and maintain its integrity. Let's see. This is the histology of intestinal wall, and now see the intestinal microbial community make a barrier upon this wall. The lumen is covered, or can we say said it is lined by the protective covering of intestinal microbiota. So it protects our intestine and improve our immune system, this barrier. Now the question arises that how to strengthen our gut flora, how to give strength them. So there are very simple ways to improve our gut microbiota diversity. A diet that is lower gut friendly, we have to use this. The use of probiotics, the use of prebiotics, and some lifestyle changes that support the lower gut, such as not smoking or taking enough time to get relaxed. So these are simple ways to improve gut microbiota. So what is prebiotics and probiotics? Prebiotics means a non-digestible food ingredient that promotes the growth of beneficial microorganisms in the intestine. They are food fiber, they are roughage, right? They can't be digested in our intestine, but they promote the growth of beneficial microbiota, right? And probiotic are the substances or the preparations through which microorganisms introduce in the body and improve our intestinal microbiota, right? So prebiotic are non-digestible food which improve microorganisms, and probiotics are the microorganisms which are introduced in the body, right? The foods, the prebiotics are used as a food for the bacteria. Garlic, banana, wheat bran, asparagus are the examples of prebiotics. And yogurt, sour cream, probiotic milk, these are the example of probiotic supplements, right? Vegetable, the prickles are also the good example of probiotics. Yogurt is also a good example of probiotic. Prebiotic means traditional diet sources of prebiotics include soya beans and some raw oats, unrefined wheat, unrefined barley, right? Factors affecting gut microbiota. Coming to this topic, what can damage gut flora, right? The use of antibiotics and other drugs, poor dietary habits, bottle feeding for infants and newborn, pollution, consuming of alcohol, dental treatments, use of steroids, stress, infections, growing old, exposure of radiations and toxic chemicals. These are the factors which can damage our gut flora. The disturbance in gut flora is called gut dysbiosis. When gut flora is damaged or in imbalance, it is called dysbiosis. And that time the bad or harmful bacteria, viruses or parasites start to take hold in our gut. There can be very difficult to eradicate them once they have moved in. So when there is gut dysbiosis, the harmful bacteria can grow in our body, especially in the gut. Hippocrates, all you know, father of medicine, he said that intestine is a paradise of diseases. जैसे हमारे यहाँ we call that मंदाग्नि सभी रोगों का कारण है, right? So death sits in the bowel. A bad digestion is the root of all evil, said by Hippocrates. Disorders of dysbiosis. Dysbiosis caused many disorders. Some are related with our digestion and some are related with our immunity also. And some are related with our cognitive functions. Some important ones are inflammatory bowel disease, irritable bowel syndrome, some autoimmune disorders, obesity, diabetes, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, depressions, anxiety. These are some important disorders caused due to dysbiosis of microflora. Now, how do we suspect dysbiosis? So there are some symptoms of dysbiosis. Frequent gas or bloating, cramping, urgency, and or mucus in feces, anxiety, depression, food sensitivity, chronic bad breath, loose stool, diarrhea, constipation, or a combination of diarrhea, stool, diarrhea and constipation. Irritable bowel syndrome, history of prolonged antibiotics, carbohydrate intolerance, particularly after eating fiber or beans, the indigestion or the feeling of indigestion is there. This is carbohydrate intolerance. When we eat the diet with full of fiber or the diet having beans, these symptoms can be seen. Fatigue or low energy level is there when there is dysbiosis. Use of antacids for heartburn, it is also a symptom of dysbiosis. Autoimmunity or autoimmune conditions are also the symptom or the indication of dysbiosis. If 5 or more of these symptoms are present, then we may be suffering from dysbiosis. Now, methods how to analyze microbiota. So, methods of microbiota analysis. In the past, to study microbes, scientists had to grow or to culture it in laboratory. So, culture is the way, the method to study the microbes in the past. But as you all know that most microbes have never been grown in a lab. Some anaerobic bacteria are there which can't grow in the laboratory. So in the 1980, scientists developed ways to analyze them. It is DNA sequencing. So the way to analyze is the sequencing of microbial DNA directly. So recently, DNA sequencing technology is used to analyze microbiota. And one interesting thing is that all these microbiota have 16 srRNA. This is a procedure to improve the gut microbiota, the community of gut microbiota. It is fecal microbiota transplantation, right? FMT is the administration of a solution of fecal matter from a donor into the intestinal tract of a recipient. So what is doing? Here, the fecal matter from the donor is introduced in the recipient's intestinal tract. For what? In order to directly change the recipient's gut microbial composition, or we can say to improve the gut microbiota of recipients and confer a health benefit. So this is FMT, a procedure to improve gut microbiota of a recipient. So what is the procedure? Carefully screened donor stool is mixed with a saline solution, and then this solution is introduced into the GI tract of that recipient's body via tube or a fecal enema or oral capsules, or during a colonoscopy we can introduce this solution in the intestine of the recipient. The good bacteria multiply there, and its successful rate is 95% approximately. Now comes to the topic which is the most important section of my presentation. It is gut microbiota and Ayurveda, right? Microbiome research confirms the science of Ayurveda. or we must thank to recent researches on microbiota. For what? Actually, they make us to believe on an even greater understanding of what Ayurveda has taught for thousands of years. So, these researches make us to believe on Ayurveda and the science behind the Ayurveda. While scientists are still puzzling out the detailed study of these, Ayurveda already offers guidelines for staying in balance. So we will be very proud that Ayurveda offers guidelines for staying in balance by suggesting that GI system really is the key to good health. Ayurveda says that our alimentary canal or our digestive system really is the key to good health, and offers valuable tips on the care of lower gut bacteria. Ayurveda offers the simple way to care of lower gut bacteria. Example, concept of diet, Ayurveda diet plan, Ayurveda diet habits, lifestyle, Dincharya, Ritucharya, that is seasonal regimen or daily regimen. These are the simple way to improve our lower gut bacteria, or we can say to improve our microbiota community. While modern medicine has just recently started to explore the significance of the mind-body connection, as you all know that in recent years, modern medicine or modern science has going to believe that mind and body has strong connection, which affects the health as well as the generation of diseases. So while modern medicine has just recently started to explore the significance of the mind-body connection for health and for disease, the ancient science of Ayurveda has based its approach to wellness on this concept for thousands of years. For example, ARM. ARM can be explained as the result of a disrupted microbiome. If the microbiota, the gut microbiota get disturbed, ARM can be produced. And Ayurveda suggests that a powerful Agni is capable of burning this ARM. So to improve Agni, we can burn this ARM, and it is the key to health. The digestive fire, to improve the improved digestive fire is the key to good health. Please mute yourself, please. So, a powerful Agni is capable of burning ARM, and Ayurveda propose many suitable measures to improve the Agni, the body Agni, or we can say it, the digestive fire. And the digestive fire is the key to good health. Ayurveda believes that. One more thing. Ayurveda says any disease is the result of some sort of imbalance of dosh in the body. Right? Eating according to your dosha, especially according to your dominant dosha, will help to create more balance of gut microbiota in the body. So, eating according to your dosha, or especially according to your dominant dosha, will definitely improve the gut microbiota community in our body. And not only improve gut health, but it also improve overall health and overall well-being. So, the concept of Prakriti, here, the concept of Prakriti is very much important. How to improve our gut microbiota community. In nutshell, microbiome researches restates the fundamental principle of Prakriti of Ayurveda. For creating a healthy gut environment by maintaining the individual specific microbiome. As we have seen in previous slides that microbiota diversity is there, and each individual is very specific in his microbiome diversity, right? So the concept Prakriti is very much important to improve gut environment by maintaining the individual specific microbiome. As a concept of Prakriti mentions that people vary in their psychosomatic characteristics. That means there is an association of human microbiome with the Ayurvedic Prakriti of an individual. We can improve some plants which are very specific to improve gut microbiota Prakriti wise, right? According to Prakriti, we have to plan the health chart for or to improve gut microbiota. Researches associated with Ayurveda and microbiota. Our research, the topic is understanding the association between the human gut, oral and skin microbiome and the Ayurvedic concept of Prakriti. This research has been taken in consideration, and it's a very useful guideline for Prakriti basis approach of human microbiome. This research concludes that human gut, oral, that is in mouth cavity, and skin microbiome showed presence or high abundance of few bacteria across 3 Prakriti types, suggesting their specific physiological importance. One more research. A cross comparison between Ayurvedic etiology of major depressive disorder and bidirectional effect of gut dysregulation. That means when the gut microbiota get dysregulated, it can cause some mental disorders like depression or other anxiety and other cognitive dysfunctions, right? So this is a research study which concludes that gut microbiome and enteric nervous system, right, are 2 particular areas in which the onset of psychiatric disorders like depression have been associated. And this research reveals that there is relation between gut microbiome and enteric nervous system. The nervous system of intestine under the control of CNS. So these 2 particular areas are very much associated with some psychiatric disorders like depression. There are some striking similarities between the biomedical understanding of the GI system and the Ayurvedic perspective of disease development. This is the conclusion of the study. A cross comparison between Ayurvedic etiology of major depressive disorder and bidirectional effect of gut dysregulation. It was published in 2019, right? One more research. Prakriti phenotypes as a stratifier of gut microbiome. A new frontier in personalized medicine. As you all know that the concept of Prakriti is very unique, right? and it provides the personalized approach of medicine or personalized approach of health, right? It's a latest, I think, trending Ayurveda topic nowadays. They conclude that Prakriti typing can function as a potential stratifier of the gut microbiome. That means each Prakriti type has a specific microbiota community, right? That is person of Vatas Prakriti differs from Pittas Prakriti in reference to their gut microbiota community. So this research concludes that Prakriti phenotyping can function as a potential stratifier of the gut microbiome in a given population and may provide evidence for the conceptual framework of personalized medicine in Ayurvedic system of medicine. So the research was Prakriti phenotypes as a stratifier of gut microbiome, a new frontier in personalized medicine. So these are the researches associated with gut microbiota and the Ayurveda. So lastly, we conclude that we are them and they are us. So they say thanks to gut microbiota to keep our health, to improve our health, to prevent us to be unhealthy. Thank you very much. My acknowledgement goes to the whole team of Kriya Manthan 2020, the National Webinar Series of Kriya Shari, SVM Ayurved Medical College, Ilkan. I want to thank from bottom of my heart the event president and the principal and the CMO, Dr. K.C. Datt sir. I'm very happy to be the part of this webinar series. I want to thank event chairman, Dr. M.M. Bijapur, the associate professor and the HOD of the Department of Kriya Shari for giving me the opportunity to present my views here today. And I also want to thank the event organizer, Dr. Viresh Ji, Assistant Professor, Department of Kriya Shari. Thank you very much, sir. So a good conversation is going on here. In previous session, I have seen that many of the students, some of the students actually destroy the session with their with some annotation, I think. So I want to say, lastly, I want to say that what lies in our power to do lies in our power not to do, right? Always remember, what lies in our power to do lies in our power not to do. So always keep going, keep good things, and thank you very much once again.
Thanks a lot.
The mic is yours, doctor.
Yeah. Can you hear me, madam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
Yeah, madam. Yes, sir. There are no queries. All of
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All of our participants are satisfied with your presentation.
Okay. Thank you very much. This is a new. It's a new insight, I think, for BMS students.
Yeah, madam.
Yeah.
Most of our first year BMS students are participated here, madam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. On behalf of our beloved principal, Dr. K.C. Das sir, and HOD,
yes.
Dr. N.M. Bijapur sir, and the Department of Kriya Sharira, I would like to thank you. I would like to convey our heartfelt thanks to you, madam, for giving your valuable time for us.
Thank you very much from my side also.
Okay. Okay. Bijapur sir, ಏನಾದ್ರು ಹೇಳೋದಿದೆಯಾ? ಸರ್
Hello.
Wholehearted thank you, madam.
Right.
Hello, madam.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you for the session, madam.
Bijapur
For
sir.
your valuable
Namaskar.
time, madam.
Namaskar. Yes.
हाँ,
Thank you very much.
madam. Because it was a very informative session, madam.
Thank you, sir.
All our students have got benefited from your teaching, madam. Let us hope next we will continue like this webinars, madam.
Thank you,
for
sir.
your support.
Thank
madam.
you, sir.
Thank you for your support, madam.
Once again, I would like to thank all the participants admitted here to join this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Shall I end it, madam?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thanks a lot, madam. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.